I was 16 when I went to Tullamore, and my uncle Pat there in Tullamore, who owned the place, a farm 3 mile out from the town, and he had a mare there that he used to drive under the trap. Or he never drove her, but Dinny Bannon, the man who worked for him, used to drive her. So, and he used to have a sidecar one time, and then the sidecar was getting beat up, so he got a beautiful trap, and with two carriage lanterns on it. So leather upholstery, a very nice trap, rubber tires. So I used to drive it to Mass. Myself and Uncle Edward, we'd go off to Mass, you see. I'd drive her. And this day anyways, I wasn't too long there. And Uncle Pat, he got a weakness. And I was told to go into town and get a bottle of brandy. Well, now there was no bike around the place. And Dinny Bannon, that worked there, he had an old bike that should be in the Smithsonian Institute. It was so long around the place. And he told me I could have the bike and welcome, but he said you'll have to fix 2 flat tires on it. So I said that'd take too long. So I said I'll bring Peggy. So anyway, we yoked up Peggy, and I just took one lantern with me, one carriage lantern with me on the left-hand side, so I would see the grass verge of the road. So as to have some bit of guidance, because the night was frightfully dark. And I kind of told Peggy that your master or your boss is sick, and we got to get some brandy for him, and it's up to you to make it. Well, Peggy, in her young days, there was nothing around the country could touch her as regards speed under a trap or under the sidecar like she used to be. But Peggy was 20 years old when I got to know her. And she was still a great driving mare. But there was just, of all the horses around the place, there were just 2 horses that I didn't like to meet on the road, because they were fit to pass me and Peggy. But anybody else, they wouldn't. Peggy would pass them. And those 2 horses, if they were around in Peggy's time, they wouldn't pass Peggy either. She'd have left them in her dust. So I raced down the avenue in the trap and opened the gate and closed it again, jumped in and told Peggy, now it's up to you, Peggy, and I just tightened the reins up on her mouth. And that was it. No cruelty, no whip, no stick, no fist, no belt of the reins, no nothing. Because I didn't believe in that. There's only one place to use a whip on a horse, and that's in the stable. No place else. And the whip you use on a horse is good hay, good oats. Treat them properly, and you don't need a whip. We went into town, and I spent most of my time standing up on the trap trying to see where the road was. And I was afraid I might bang into people walking. So anyway, we shot in and up across and down over Kilbeggan Bridge into the town. And I just took the rug, pulled up outside Burns's, and I took the rug and I threw it out over Peggy's back. And I left her headed down the town. And she was staying quiet when the rug was on. So no need to tie her. So I raced into Burns's and I asked Mr. Burns for a bottle of brandy. Put it on the book. I said, my Pat's after getting a back turn. I'm in an awful hurry. So he was kind of slow in papering the thing, and I reached in and grabbed it out of his hand and ran out the door and jumped in the trap. Whipped the rug off Peggy's back and told her, come on, Peg, let's go home. Well, she shot up through the town, up over Kilbeggan Bridge, and away we went. Now, I talked to Mr. Byrne afterwards, and he said to me that as soon as I left the shop that night, that he came straight out to the door. But when he looked out up the street, he says, I was gone over the bridge. So he says, you were moving. I said, I sure was. The fastest drive, I said, I ever did in my life. So anyways, it turned out that it was the fastest drive. Anyways, I got out to the house in record time, and I shot in the back gate and let Peggy over by the hay shed and let her eat some hay because she was hot heated up, but by eating the hay she wouldn't get chilled. So I took the brandy and I raced in the back door, and I met Deegan coming out, and he said, good Christ, didn't you go yet? And I said, here's the brandy. Oh God, no, he says. So anyways, I left it to him, and I went out and I unyoked Peggy and rubbed her down with a bit of hay and a bit of sweat that was on her. And I put her into her stall and saw that she was fit and everything was okay. But that was the fastest bit of driving I ever did. And Peggy was the one who did the trot. Well, after I leave in there, Peggy was taken into Tullamore one day, and she was sold. And Peggy should have never been sold off that land. She should have been allowed to die on it, because there was plenty of work in Peggy, and she would have earned her oats if he kept her on. But no, he had to sell her.